Hello, hello. Merry Christmas. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
I see you got your tree up.
Yeah. Yeah, we just moved too, so that was a
Did
feat.
you?
Yeah, we just moved into this apartment last week, so it's been
Oh wow.
busy. Yeah.
So where are you at now? You're kind of in the south a little or
Yeah, we're in South Carolina.
South Carolina. I heard it's so beautiful. Actually, I haven't been there yet, but I would like to um go for sure one day.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
haven't
nice.
been stateside for a little while. I gotta go.
Are you in the States now?
No. I'm
Oh,
Canadian, but I haven't been to the States
oh, I'm sorry.
for a little while. I would like to.
Yeah. Let me turn you up. I can't hear you very well. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
I
need to.
haven't, I have not been there for a little while. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been to Canada for a little while either, since 2010, which is a long time for me. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
anytime. Come on.
Yep. Oh, I love Canada.
You
Yeah.
do? That's
Oh, I
kind of
do.
boring.
Yeah. I grew up in Washington State, right on the border, so
Oh yeah.
I went into Canada a lot. Yeah.
You went to Vancouver.
Yes, Vancouver a lot. Victoria.
We're in Calgary now. We're in
Are you?
Calgary. Yeah, Vancouver's way too expensive.
Yeah, I hear you. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, the West Coast is just too expensive.
it's insane.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's anywhere along the coasts, forget it. Go south or go towards the center, and it's a heck of a lot better.
It is. It is. So,
Yeah,
is it okay that I record this and
of course.
put it on
Yeah.
my channel?
Yeah. I know,
Oh, good.
of course, it's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this fragrance that you
Yeah.
have done. Yeah, I'm super excited.
You get a little bottle. Let me
Okay.
get that. I can't believe I didn't bring it with me. Just 1 second.
Okay,
So
sure.
these are my little,
Oh, those are awesome.
they're tiny little bottles. So these bottles here,
Oh my gosh, it's
they're
beautiful.
engraved. Yeah, it's on the way to you.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
both of them. So
Oh, beautiful.
it's two different perfumes.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, I have two. So here's the rose,
It's
and then one
beautiful.
is an ambergris, sandalwood, and cedarwood tincture.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
And they're both they're in oil base. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're different from a regular spray perfume. They're more something to kind of enjoy like this, take
Like a little
this.
dabber. Oh, that's
Yes, exactly.
amazing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is
Those
the
are my favorite kind of
powdery.
dabbers. The
Yeah,
big
yeah.
glass ones. Yeah. Yeah, those are my favorite kind of dabbers. They're
And this,
so, I don't know. There's just something about them. They're beautiful.
they're French crystal glass. You
Hmm.
can see here, and engraved with the Meleg and then Gion here, which I will definitely tell you a lot about
Yeah.
very soon. Um, and this is a very soft, powdery rose otto.
Okay.
Um, rose otto is very rarely used
Hmm.
in perfumery because it's the most expensive rose.
Hmm.
It's rose essential oil, but it's got this deep, jammy, sweet, soft peach. You'll smell it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and it's with orris butter,
Mm.
which is a very soft violet powdery material,
Yes.
and some oud, agar wood, and hence the winter rose, because the agar wood, like after a couple of hours,
Hmm.
you'll smell a little bit of it'll remain on your skin to become a powdery, soft suede type thing.
Hmm. It's
So
gorgeous.
it starts off juicy, rosy. The
Hmm.
type of rose that I use in here, it's got very strong nuances of lychee and cherry, and then but it's a real material. This is my first natural perfumes here.
Oh, okay.
All natural, all 100% natural materials in this
Oh.
one. And that's why it's so expensive, even at 20%. So 20% the essential oils, and
Hmm.
then 80% is the jojoba, but it's still 170 Canadian. So around 140 US, and it's 15 milli, but it's very long lasting.
Yeah. And being an oil, you don't need to use that much.
You don't need to use that much, and it's really meant to be close to you. So it doesn't have because it's not synthetic,
Hmm.
because it's natural, it has all it's very stays close to your body, so it's something personal. And the
Mhm.
reason I kept it in oil and kind of somewhat close to your body is because of the Japanese influence. You know, these
Mhm.
are made and gifted. I'll show you some photos to the geisha and Maiko in Kyoto.
Mhm.
So they can't wear in Japan, generally speaking, you cannot wear loud, rude, obnoxious scents. It's not good.
Right.
Uh, the entire culture is one of subtlety and nuance, and
Mhm.
especially Kyoto, the city, it's like very, very nuanced.
Mhm.
And they're very conservative people. So you get everybody in the neighborhood talking if you wear these really loud perfumes.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then the other one is kind of a more of a musk. It's a sandalwood and ambergris, and you'll smell it. It's got nice cedar wood and sandalwood, and you can smell the real sandalwood. It's got like mineral facets. I don't know
Mhm.
if you have some nice sandalwood essential oil in your house, but
Mhm.
real sandalwood has these kind of buttery mineral, salty minerals, buttery, nutty, kind of cashew, buttery, nutty facets along with this mineral edge. So you'll be able to recognize that. They're both simple but very, very nuanced perfumes. And so when they arrive to you, let me know and I'll walk you through it to what to look for
Okay.
in them. Yeah.
I'm so excited. So tell me about how you even got into a position where you were making
Yeah.
fragrances for geisha.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's a long story. Basically, I lived in Japan for a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think around 9 years.
Mhm.
And I can speak the language a little bit, but I lived in Tokyo and I'd always visited Kyoto many times. Like I've been there more than a dozen times.
Mhm.
Kyoto is Tokyo's the economic powerhouse of Japan, and Kyoto's like the heart of Japan. It's like the cultural heart of Japan.
Mhm.
And when you arrive there, it's first of all, it's an absolutely stunning city. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's not like um, I can remember arriving in Prague or something or Rome where you get off the train or the plane and you look at the city and you're like, wow, just mind blowing.
Mhm.
Nothing like that at all. It looks like at first when you first arrive, it looks like a very, very normal Japanese city,
Mhm.
and it's called the city of the culture of nuance
Mhm.
and artisans. So people that do things with their hands.
Mhm.
So I grew up on a farm. My uncle was a woodworker. That's my dog. I always really loved people that work with their hands. And I trained in oil painting. And anyways, I love craftsmanship.
Mhm.
Um, and it's when you spend a little bit of time there in Kyoto and you walk around, you start, as I said, like it's not overly striking, not when you get out of the train, right? But when you start to walk out through the alleyways and away from the center of the city, it's got 1,600 temples. It's a UNESCO heritage site.
Mhm.
It's got an equal number of Japanese gardens.
Mhm.
Um, and the woodworking is just incredible. The stonework and the streets are just lined with craftspeople,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so when I was in Japan at that time, I'd been just teaching English because I hadn't really, um, although my heart was in craftsmanship, I always loved it. And I admired the people there. And with my broken Japanese, I'd sit down and talk with people making like leather shoes, like custom leather shoes by hand,
Mhm.
or people like carving shells, or people using like natural dyes to make kimonos with. And I would go
Mhm.
on these tours and really from a surface level learn as much as I could. Every time I went there, I tried to like meet up with last time I went, I spent a day with a monk making incense to see his way of making stuff. So
Mhm.
I would meet with these people usually on group tours. um, and I think my second or third time I went to Kyoto, I went on a with a friend of mine from Belgium. He sold his IT company and he's like, hey, I want to go meet some Maiko or geisha. Right. And I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
right. Yeah. Okay. Good luck. Right. So I'm like,
Yeah.
costs you a lot of money. And he's like,
Mhm.
I don't care. He just sold his company for like $1 million and a couple $1 million or something. He was living in Mexico and like he was basically retired at like 50 years old or something. He's like,
Yeah.
no, I really want to go. And I had been showing him and a couple of other gaijin or gaikokujin foreigners
Mhm.
around Kyoto because I could speak the language and I knew a little bit about it.
Mhm.
And so usually if you want to meet a geisha or Michael for the first time, especially if you're a foreigner, there's only really one option. So what you can do is you can ask your hotel to call a middleman person to contact the tea house.
Mhm.
Okay. So the geisha and the Michael, they live together in a dormitory, basically.
Mhm.
It's like a glorified women's dormitory, right? They're not
Yeah.
allowed to have, they're not supposed to have boyfriends, right?
Mhm.
So they live together in the house, and the hotel will contact someone in the middle who will contact the tea house. So the hotels usually don't even contact the tea houses unless you're staying at like the Ritz Carlton or some like really really expensive traditional hotel like called a ryokan,
Mhm.
right? So the middleman role is always very important in Japan, like middle people. Okay, so I did that, and we had lunch, and I think the first geisha neighborhood that I got slightly familiar with was called the Kamishichiken. It's not in the center of, there's five flower towns, so there's five different villages of neighborhoods um, where the geisha and Maiko hang out, live, do business in, like
Mhm.
rule over.
Mhm.
And Kamishichiken, and I think my friend paid like $800 for a 45-minute lunch for three people,
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. Yeah, and it was like off hours.
Mhm.
It wasn't even like during the evening time, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how the way you first meet, and
Mhm.
then you go back again. You try to contact the same place again, and you talk to the same people again,
Mhm.
and you do that little by little, and then you eventually, my Japanese is good enough where I could call the middle people, and then they put you in contact with the place, and then again, just usually group tours and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, but the last time I went, um, I was hanging out with the monks, and then people, um, it, and then I spent a lot of like basically a month in this one neighborhood, the Gion neighborhood,
Mhm.
and I tried to meet as many people as I could, and it took a lot of spending money eating and drinking
Mhm.
and meeting with middle people. And then I met a couple geisha and Michael who are sorry, geisha, like senior ones, but Michael
Mhm.
is so senior geisha, and then also like their managers. And it's a really small world in Gion. So if you go to a restaurant or a bar, there's a small chance um, and most of these restaurants and bars are actually kind of clubs. They're like closed. Like they usually won't let foreigners in. Not if you're okay. So if your Japanese is pretty good and you have good manners
Mhm.
and you understand the culture. So the last place that I went to in Gion, I think it was like the second last night I was there. I knocked on the door and they open it and they're like, gaijin da, it's a foreigner. And they're like, oh, so I said, I don't. I asked them, is it okay to eat and drink in Japanese? And they're like, oh, okay. They can kind of tell from my gestures, the way that I talk or speaking Japanese, that this foreigner is not, I'm not going to cause trouble. Right.
Right.
So I sat at the end of the bar and I'm eating and drinking, and then people are chatting with me, and one guy I was talking with, he's kind of a middleman between he gives guided tours, and he was showing all his pictures, he's always hanging out with geisha and stuff, and he put me in contact with some people.
Mhm.
And then I contacted them on Instagram, and I told them who I was and who I know, and I'm like, hey, I want to send you some perfumes, and she's like, oh, okay, that's cool, sure, why not.
Mhm.
So I have 15 of these guys, exactly the same formula.
Mhm.
Okay, 15 of them,
Mhm.
but with a different seal. And it's
Mhm.
actually the seal of her tea house, so her specific tea house, and I
Hmm.
made the perfumes for her tea house. Yeah, and
That's
so
so cool.
yeah, it's quite the honor, even just to give them to them for free.
Right.
Yeah, and so um, just giving her 15 at the moment, and I sent her a bunch of samples earlier, and she picked the rose one, which is, this is the general Gion one, and I give these to like the artisans and monks and people in Gion,
Mhm.
the people that I really admire so much, like because they're just so dedicated to their craft.
Right.
I'm a self-taught perfumer. Like I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I give people in Gion, Michael and Geisha, these exact perfumes, and then
Hmm.
I have 15 going to a specific tea house, so it's got her thing. But I can't. I can kind of show you. I can show you 1 second. I can show
Oh,
you
sure.
just. I can show you just the logo, but I'm not going to show you the name of the tea house because
Okay,
I'll
no
talk about
problem.
that in a moment.
Sure.
One logo here.
Ah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a plum blossom,
Uh-huh.
and so her perfume, her tea house is also it's a plum blossom.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, so I've got 15 of
Beautiful.
these going to her, and that's the way you do business in Kyoto.
Yeah.
Very carefully, very slowly, over a very long time. You don't
Because isn't
post
respect a
names.
really like
Yeah.
vital part of their culture?
Yes.
You just have to
Yeah.
do things in a certain way.
Yeah. So exactly. So like Geisha and Michael, like when you see them walking down the road, they've
Hmm.
got this white mega, and then the streets are lined with these old torch type like lights.
Hmm.
And when they're walking, they have a way of walking, they have a
Hmm.
way of looking, they have a way of gesturing. Everything they do is like practice. They're real artists.
Hmm.
And they're almost like ghostly figures. They live almost within their own world and they float through the streets. It's really like that when you see them. And whenever they walk, they've got the little bells in their shoes, and their shoes are made out of a specific kind of wood. So it's got like this colts, colts, colts sound, and like the jingle of the bells, and their kimonos are just like, $10,000 or something.
Yeah.
And they're just absolutely gorgeous. And even the Japanese people are like, whoa, and they take photos like they're like celebrities, but not for like, so, and they don't handle money. They don't touch money. They don't handle money. They're artists. Like
Hmm.
literally, that's what geisha means. It means artist or artisan or people who live, a person who lives a life of art,
Hmm.
basically.
Hmm.
Nothing to do with prostitution. Nothing. That's
Yeah.
I can explain the connection there, like, but it's nothing to do with it at all. They live a very conservative, very rigid, very well disciplined life where all they do is practice a variety of arts from morning till night for years and years and years. So, but they don't touch and they don't do commercials. And they don't like it would probably be so easy for a geisha to say, I only drive in this car or something, and then they can get a shitload of money, possibly, but
Yeah,
they don't do
absolutely.
that. They don't do that. They
Hmm.
don't engage in any commercial thing. And I'm a foreigner, and
Right.
I don't even live in Japan, and I don't even live in Kyoto.
Right.
And although I might know some of these people, knowing someone in Japan, it's like it takes a long time to know someone, but when you make friends, they're really good friends for a very, very long time.
Hmm.
So they're so respectful and so careful and so conservative that I have to do all of this with a degree of tact and things like that. It's so vastly different from the United States or Canada, right? I'm
Right.
sure a lot of people would look at the perfumes or look at the backstory here and think like, oh, he's making excuses. How come there aren't like, geisha holding up saying, I love Matt's perfume or something? They would never
Yeah.
do something like that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's very,
Um,
very different.
Not just anybody can be a geisha. And
Anybody can try. You can try. You can
Right,
try.
but not
You could
everybody.
go. You could go and try. Like
Yeah,
there's been, I think there's two or three, maybe foreign geisha. It's they let you, but not anybody can be a geisha, right?
exactly.
And you can
Because,
try.
right. But anyways, so I have a little bit of an understanding of the culture. So when we were messaging and you said that you were actually making perfume for the geisha in Kyoto, I was just like mind blown. Because I do have a little bit of an understanding of it's just like not anybody's going to be able to do that. So
No,
I just think
I
it's
should say very
incredible.
clearly that I'm gifting the
Yeah,
perfume.
absolutely. But
And
even
for
the
them to
fact that
receive
you,
it, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
even the fact that you're able to gift it to them is just, it's incredible. I just think it's amazing.
And I think the reason I'm able to do that, although, I mean, I have to take it, you have to take a bit of a chance. So
Hmm.
go ahead, put this video out there. It's
Hmm.
fine. If some of the people in Kyoto see this and they're like, stupid foreigner, what does he think he's doing? And if they never take any gifts from me again, it's okay. I mean, it's this for me, this is a very long-term project. So
Hmm.
I hope I live a long and healthy life because
Yeah.
one of my goals, okay, my wife and I, we just got a little house here in Calgary,
Hmm.
is, to have a kind of shop in in Kyoto and to be, I would say, on the periphery, but
Hmm.
at least a respected artisan or a foreign artisan living in Kyoto. Because there are some very well trained, very disciplined foreigners living in Japan and in near the Kyoto area or in Kyoto who are masters of their craft,
Hmm.
and they learn from the Japanese or they're inspired by them and they mix maybe like, Western and Eastern stuff. And so I hope before I die, that's my thing. And, eventually I would like to become one of the perfumers too, or the perfumer to Geisha and Maiko. Now, what does that mean? Geisha and Maiko don't typically wear perfume
Hmm.
at work, but for them as women,
Hmm.
on their
Hmm.
off time, because they do get time off. So this is one of my goals, and yeah,
Yeah, and that's awesome.
yeah,
And the fact that you've kind of already got, that relationship starting by just being
yeah,
able to
yeah,
gift them
exactly.
fragrance. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me show you some images here.
Okay.
So a gallery in Kyoto has featured some of my perfumes.
Mhm.
Let me share. I'll show you the gallery here, and they've taken some photos for me. Can I share the screen? Can you allow me to share the
Yeah,
screen?
let me see. Did that do it?
So enable share screen. Maybe I can. Yes.
Okay, good.
And so here's a gallery that featured some of my perfumes, and they've just sent me some photos. A gallery in Kyoto.
Oh, wow.
Um, let's see. I don't know. Are you able to see that?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Okay, so they featured some of my perfumes. I have a variety of Gion perfumes, which I am um, selling, and I mean, even they said, sure, we'll take photos of this for you. Um, but they're like, don't even say the name of the galleries.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, Kyoto's like that. It's a very conservative place. It's a very,
Hmm.
very, it takes a while. It takes a while to gain any kind of trust or relationship with anybody there.
Yeah.
It's very conservative. Even the Japanese say that,
Hmm.
here's the Japanese people living outside of Kyoto say that about Kyoto. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And here's another picture. That's an interior garden here.
Yeah.
But this gallery has something called a Tsubo Niwa,
Hmm.
which is a belly button garden, and it's quite beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And I thought they were going to take some more, but it's okay. Here's another photo. I just got it, so I'm going to have to brighten it up with Photoshop and stuff like that. But
It's beautiful still.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, your fragrances look like they belong there. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the story. That's the background story. I could talk about Kyoto forever. I love the city so much.
Yeah.
Just the artisans, and it's just like everything done is done with so much perfection and so much intensity. And
Hmm.
like you go to, I mean, there's some restaurants there where it's like nine generations of the same family making exactly the same kind of dish of food, trying to perfect it over like 1,000 years,
Yeah.
sort
Which
of
is
thing.
just incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. And you just don't find stuff like that in many places in the world. How sweet. What's
Grouchy now. Why are you grouchy?
Grouchy? Oh my gosh. Is it a he or
Why are you grouchy?
she?
T.
She? What's her
Yeah.
name?
Zozo.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Zoe, why are you grouchy? Hmm? Why are you grouchy? Hmm? Grouchy.
Oh gosh, I love dogs.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
a poodle. We have two poodles.
Yeah. When was the last time you were in Kyoto?
Oh, I think what was the last time? About 8 months ago, I think, something like
Oh,
that.
okay. How
I was
often
planning
do
to
you
go
get back
again.
to Japan?
I try to go once a year if I can,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
awesome. And you have to have friends there. Imagining.
I have friends and family there.
Yeah. Oh, you have family there.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Oh, sweet. Look at that
You're
doggy.
terrible. You're grouchy.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah,
Oh,
she wasn't born in Japan. The old guy, the old dog that we have, he was born in Japan.
oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Would you ever consider moving to Japan?
I would.
Or back, I should say, back to Japan?
Yeah. So it's a wonderful, wonderful country. I
Hmm.
would definitely. It's I just have to find a way to perhaps craft my perfumes,
Hmm.
send them to North America, hold them in
Hmm.
like a warehouse, and then when orders come, send them out, something like that.
Right.
I
I
have to do
see.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which would be, I think that there are ways to do that.
There are ways. There's always ways to
Yeah, there are always ways. That's exactly right.
study more
Yeah.
and more Japanese. I think I'm about mid-level Japanese, so I need to study much better,
Oh, as
especially
far
for
as
business
speaking it.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's three different writing systems, and I know two well, but two perfect. But the third one is like hard.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, which is incredible to me because I am one of those people that languages just don't click with me. I have a really hard time.
Me
So
too. Me too.
you do?
Yeah.
Well, that's impressive that you know
Studying
Japanese.
forever though. I've been studying. It's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah. What brought you to Japan in the first place?
Oh, okay. So I'd gone to art school,
Hmm.
which is like, a bad idea. And during before and after classes, I would tutor people
Hmm.
English, teach
Hmm.
English, and this is in Vancouver.
Hmm.
And one of my students was a consulate general of Japan, kind of like a Japanese government worker in
Hmm.
Vancouver. And I've been teaching for 2 or 3 years, tutoring people English. And he's like, "Why don't you go to Japan? And I'll get you a visa, go and have some fun.
Hmm.
You're never going to get a job going to art school anyways." So I
Yeah.
quit art school. And I quit art school and I went to Japan, and I ended up staying for a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, don't worry, I could never get a job with my history degree. So I just did what I had a passion for. I didn't necessarily do what was going to get me a job.
I think everybody should follow their passion and
Absolutely.
do it with so like I even have a perfume called meaningful work, right? And
Mm-hmm.
for me, my work in life there's absolutely no separation between the two. I
Hmm.
absolutely love being creative and making perfumes and designing them, and um, for me it's everything. Work, it's my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it's the best way to live, I
I
think.
think so.
Yeah, because you're not working. You're doing
No,
what you
not really.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not really working. You're just doing what you love and you have made a way or figured out a way to make a living doing what you love, which is incredible. It's sad that not everybody can do that.
Yeah, yeah, not
Yeah.
everybody can. But I think there's a way if you try hard enough, if you think of enough attack angles,
Hmm.
there's a way to um almost make work meaningful if at first you don't like it.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the tricks in life. It's really engaging oneself in a kind of moment to moment concentration on a task and trying to do it as best as you possibly can. And um challenging yourself and focusing in on and just I mean it's possible to make art from almost even the most meaningless activities
Hmm.
sometimes if
Yeah.
you really just change your mind. I think if you just look at it in a slightly different angle, I
Hmm.
think it's possible. It's not easy, but I think it's
Mm.
possible.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely think it's possible. But unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people look at things like that or think about it in that way. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then if you absolutely hate what you're doing,
Hmm.
one should definitely move on to something different. If I had
Absolutely.
done a million different things in my life, there's no way I would end up making perfumes, right? Because if you
Right.
think about it, I grew up on a apple orchard, so I
Hmm.
was exposed to all these different smells like a fruit orchard.
Hmm.
Um, so peaches and apricots and pears and different variety of different apples and fruits and vegetables and flowers and all those different smells. And then I had studied painting and graphic design. I
Hmm.
never thought I would use my graphic design skills anytime in my future because I didn't like working in an office. I didn't like working in and around other people.
Right.
I'm not very good at office politics. I just say
I'm the
what I
same
think.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was a waste,
Hmm.
but it wasn't because now I use those graphic design like a Photoshop Illustrator, package design, in my process of making perfumes and thinking about how to package them. And I made my websites and my blogs and everything. So it really helped out.
Yeah.
And I went to Japan and I never thought like when I came back to Canada, I had been like washing buses at nighttime when I first came back.
Hmm.
And I never thought that any of my kind of things that I learned from the Japanese, like self-discipline or meaningful work or concentration or patience. And they just taught me so many things. I never thought it would like really apply to North American culture. But lo
Hmm.
and behold, all those things, like I tried one thing, did it, next thing, they all sort of came together
Right.
making perfumes. So the fruits and smells, and I even studied culinary arts like cooking and spices and growing up on the farm, all these smells, okay, that's registered. And then the graphic design that registered in the Japanese culture and that registered. So, I mean, it all sort of came together with the perfumery. So I think if you're in a area of stuckness, then you have to change. You have to,
Absolutely.
you know, make a break and try something different that's interesting.
Right.
Even if the next task, or let's say the next 3 or 4 years of your life seem not that fulfilling, it may be all that experience may be shelved to do something
Hmm.
later on, I think. So,
Yeah, I totally agree
yeah.
because I basically have the same thing has happened with me. So
Yeah.
a lot of the things that I learned in the past and the work that I have done in the past has really prepared me for, working for myself and doing my own things in life and knowing
Yeah.
when to say when something isn't working anymore and to not be afraid to make change. Um,
Yeah. You have to. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's just so important.
It's
But
important.
it really
But
is.
you're also rewarded for a lot of patience too, sometimes.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
it's the balance, right? It
Yep.
depends. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to know that nothing is very easy. You have to work for things. You have to, continually strive for things. And that's where the patience comes in. You just have to have patience that things will, work out. And the more effort you put into something, the more reward you'll get back, basically.
I completely agree. There's an excellent book. Maybe you've read it. It's called Atomic Habits.
Uh-huh. No, I haven't
Uh,
read it, but I've heard of it.
yeah, it's just about like making like 0.1% um improvements every day in something. You
Mm-hmm.
know, as long as you're heading in the basic direction you want to go and you're consistent,
Mm-hmm.
um, then you'll end up where you want to go. So you have to have an idea of like the goal, where exactly you want to go.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I think I'm older than people say I have a baby face, but I'm 44. So
Me too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It takes a while to figure out exactly what you want to do.
it
So
really does. It's funny because I'm just now getting to a place in my life where I don't know, I finally feel grounded in my life. Like I don't know, I feel like I finally have enough knowledge to do the things that I want to do. Um,
mhm, mhm, mhm,
yeah, it's hard to explain, but
mhm.
yeah, it took a long time to get there, but
It's wisdom, probably.
I think so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just told my mom that yesterday, that
yeah,
I feel like I finally have gained wisdom in
yeah,
life. And yeah, at 44. But
yeah,
yeah, 44 is still really young.
yeah, yeah. But it takes
Mhm.
a while. But yeah, yeah.
It does. It
I
does.
definitely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
Any
right.
questions or anything like that? Or no, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely about to run out of time. We've got just over a minute left. So it has been so good to sit down and talk to you. And
Yeah.
I'm super excited for everybody to see this. A lot of
Awesome.
people don't get to see perfumers, or listen to them talk about their fragrances, and so I always love to um, sit down and talk to you guys, and let my subscribers be exposed to perfumers.
I really appreciate this, just bringing the information to people. There's a
Yeah,
lot of process behind it. There's a reason why perfumes aren't cheap. It takes a very long time.
absolutely,
It takes a long
absolutely.
time to make stuff.
It
So
does.
I really appreciate you showing them like who I am and the process that I go through to make perfumes.
Yeah.
It's not just putting things in bottles. So
No.
um, yeah, well, I will be heading off then today because I need to find some nice inserts for some of these perfumes and doing that. And yeah, so thank you so much.